So let's take a listen to this email, or I should say email I got from one of my fans. Obviously, she's not a fan, but it said this. Hey there, writer, and welcome back to the Novelist Studio. I am your host, Anna Del Valle. There has never been a better time to be a creative writer. Welcome to the new golden age of literature. You're just in time. So I got this email from one of my fans, and it got me to thinking, I really need to do a video around this, explaining this succinctly for some people. And the email that I got from her was telling me that she doesn't use AI, and I'm going to read it to you here in a second, but I wanted to really create a video showing a very stark difference between how creative writers used to work in the past and how creative writers can work today. And these AI tools are all fairly new on the scene. I mean, ChatGPT has been around since October of 2022, so very nascent products, and all the other ones will write about the same time they were released. So this is very new and nascent technology. So if you're watching this video, congratulations for being forward thinking and really seeing what kind of tools are out there to really up level your game as a creative writer, because using AI in your workflow is a strategy. So let's take a listen to this email, or I should say email I got from one of my fans. Obviously, she's not a fan, but it said this. I am not into using AI to write my book. That's not to say that I don't use ChatGPT. I use it for research, social media posts, and other random things like that. But I don't want it to take the place of me or do all my work for me. As an author, I need to do the hard work myself. I'm probably going to stop using it as much for social media posts. I really need to know how to do all of this myself instead of relying on a machine. Okay, guys. First of all, if you're using ChatGPT for search, newsflash, Google has been around since 1998 for 27 years, and that is the search tool. That is the search tool also that ChatGPT uses, by the way. So you're not really doing anything innovative and new if you're just using ChatGPT for search or research, right? So you saying that you use ChatGPT just for searching, it's almost like saying that you only use your iPhone for the flashlight, right? Like it's that stark because you can do so much stuff with ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an operating system for writers where you can customize it and you can make it however you want to help you with whatever need you have at the moment in your creative writing life cycle from pre-drafting to polished draft. So let's get started with the before AI and after AI list to really understand the amazing benefits of ChatGPT. And spoiler alert, it's not just a flashlight or a search tool. Here we go. We're going to go over the top 5 things of what creative writing used to look like before AI and what creative writing looks like after AI. Guys, there's a new strategy for creative writing. That's it. That's just it. We have a tool that helps us do deeper thinking. So let's take a look at the real value here on the top 5 things before AI and after AI for creative writers. Number 1, we used to have to learn craft separately, right? So there were like a ton of books. There was a book on this approach and a book on that writing approach. And maybe you wanted to take a workshop and maybe you wanted to go to this course. And it was just like information overload. And I went through this. Guys, I went through this. I have been writing for over 20 years. I have a degree in creative writing. I was doing all of those things. All of them, okay? And I gotta tell you that my brain was fried. I was so worried about craft when I was writing that it was almost impossible to move at an efficient speed. I kept doubting myself. Oh my God, did I catch the theme here? Did I do this, right? So now after AI, Craft mastery is actually integrated seamlessly as you write, right? Let me tell you what that means. So you have chapter 5 and you know that it's not landing, right? You're like, there's something wrong here. Not sure what it is. I feel like it's too short. I feel like it's too abrupt, whatever. If you go back and forth with ChatGPT or your large language model of choice, maybe you use Claude, it will come back and tell you exactly what's wrong with your chapter, right? It'll give you a list of things that it thinks that it's wrong with your chapter, and it'll give you advice on how to correct those things. Now, before you go and think that ChatGPT and AI doesn't understand craft books, hold on to your hat because it has read not just all the craft books under the sun, but every book available to train the model. So yes, it really understands craft very well. So now you can interact with ChatGPT like, hey, tell me about this chapter because I feel like there's something wrong. And you can learn mastery as you go because maybe it'll point out that your character's coming through two-dimensional and the reasons why. And then you start thinking, oh, okay, I got that, I got that. So then when you go write chapter 6, guess what happens? You're going to go in already knowing that, you know what, I just learned that about making this a more dimensional character, so I'm going to incorporate that in my next chapter. Learning craft mastery as you write. That is the number one thing that has changed after AI has made it on the scene. Let's take a look at number 2. Number 2 is winging technical decisions, right? So when you're a writer, right, or let's say you're a new writer. So writing a novel is an entire life cycle, and it starts with pre-drafting, which is what is the story that you're trying to write about, and a bunch of things that go into that, all the way to having your market polished, ready manuscript. That is the life cycle of building a novel. So before, we used to have to wing technical decisions, right? Like, what is my point of view? What is my structure? What is my setting? What is my tone? And you're supposed to do all these things before you start writing, by the way. And the problem is that we used to always think we knew what we wanted, right? My last novel, I used to think that I wanted to write it in just this first point of view, right? All the way through linear. And I got to my third draft like that. And guess what? It didn't really work, right? So we were really winging that. We were winging POV, structure, setting, and tone. And now after AI, we don't have to wing that anymore because we can actually test all our technical decisions with AI before we start writing, right? Like, hey, here's my novel, here's what it's about, here's what I'm thinking. I am torn between using first point of view and using a third point of view, or using a dual timeline, or just doing linear, right? So you can test all these technical decisions before you even start writing to a really, really deep level that wasn't possible before. And guess what that's going to do for you? Because it's giving you deeper thinking, you're going to be able to use your critical thinking skills to decide which one you think is going to land with your target market the best. Number 3, soft outlines leading to structural problems. Before AI, right? I mean, we had these outlines we put together. We were hoping that they were going to work. We kind of had an idea. But the fact of the matter is that outlines are just not beats, right? Outlines, when you do a proper outline, you're outlining your beat for your main plot, you're outlining your beat for your subplot, you're even outlining your setting, right? Because setting lends an enormous amount of emotional engagement for the reader. So we were just hoping that our outline was going to work. But after AI, we get to have strategic outlines built for compelling story structures that work. And I am talking about having an outline for not just your main plot, but your subplot and your setting and your tone and how you want to position these chapters. If you want like a highly emotional chapter here, and then one that's more internal for the protagonist to reflect. So it really, really helps us do deeper thinking, do deeper thinking on how we're going to build these incredible outlines that is really going to lend themselves for a story that is engaging and that it works. And guys, this is such an important part of the process. This is what really makes or breaks a novel, right? The amount of knowledge that you have and understanding that you have on this really complex project, on all these levers you're going to pull. You're going to pull all these levers to manipulate the reader's emotions, right? To make them go through this journey, to engage them in a way that is so rich, right? And that requires a lot of strategy, and we can now do that with AI. And this is what Olivia, my outlining and story strategist expert here at the AI Writing Academy, does. Olivia AI is built to take your idea and help you flesh out that outline in a way that it's just going to really help you massage all the key beats that you want with your tone and your setting and your structure and your subplot and your main plot to really start building that engagement model that you want for your reader. Number 4, before AI, flag characters that were disconnected from plot. And guys, you know, everybody does the whole character Bible before AI. Oh, who's my character? What do they look like? Are they 6 feet tall? Do they have brown eyes? What do they do for a living? What are their mannerisms? How do they dress? Okay, we get it, right? But here's the deal. There's so much more that goes into a character and not just what they want and what's in their way. There's a whole backstory that goes into a character that actually will never show up on the page, but the character behaves a certain way because of that backstory. And that's what makes a three-dimensional character be three-dimensional. If their backstory is that they were raised in a Catholic school and they were never raised with their parents, but that never comes out on the page, they're going to behave a certain way, right? This character is going to behave a certain way. So now after AI, we get to build those backstories. So we get to go deeper with our character development, right? Before we even start writing. It's not just about what they want and how they look anymore. It's about all those other backstories. Can you imagine having to build a rich backstory for all of your characters instead of having a tool that helps you ideate that in real time? I mean, like we said, a lot of that stuff may not even show on the page, but it's going to show up in your brain when you're sitting down and writing, and that character is going to behave a certain way because of their past history. Number 5, and our last one here is before AI. We were stuck in endless revision cycles without clear direction. I mean, you guys, I started my novel before AI, and I am on my last revision now because I actually am using Ellis, my developmental editor, Ellis AI, to help me edit my novel. And all those 3 edits that I did before, even after I got it back from a beta reader, no, there's no way that I would have gotten to that level of insight without Ellis AI, my developmental editor. I mean, she looks at the entire manuscript end to end and tells me in real time what's working in each scene, how I can fix it, what's not working, gives me creative suggestions that, prompt other ideas for me. I mean, there's no way that we were able to do stuff like this before AI, right? And now we can. We actually have a structured and efficient editing and revision process that we can use with Chat GPT. So What does this all mean? This new strategy for creative writing. What does this all mean? At the end of the day, before AI, it used to take us 5 to 7 years as a part-time writer, moonlighting. I know some full-time writers that have taken this long too, by the way, for first-time writers, because it's a first-time project. One book every 5 to 7 years if you finished it all. I mean, so what was the outcome here? So what was the outcome then before AI? Well, before AI, we used to write one book every 5 to 7 years because of this very messy, manual, not deep thinking strategy that we had to work through, this manual process. And if you're a part-time writer, you're just starting out, you have a 9 to 5 job, it's going to take you this long if you don't use AI. I mean, thankfully now we have great tools that can get us there faster, but one book every 5 to 7 years, you guys, if you finished at all. And a lot of people just abandon them. I think the stats are like 97% of people that start a book never finish it. After AI, the outcome is unbelievable. You have this very structured approach. You have this tool that helps you do this very deep thinking, and you can start building your novel block by block, very exciting, nurturing this beautiful project that's going to bloom into this beautiful thing, right? And you can actually finish an entire book from idea to a polished market ready manuscript in 12 months. You really, really, really can if you understand the AI creative writing system. And this is why I built the AI Creative Writing Academy, because I basically took the entire life cycle of novel building and I created an academy so that first time writers can just hit the ground running. And my academy is built to be in alignment with the US copyright law. So everything that you work on, it is 100% your copyright. So this is what we call AI assisted writing. So writers, don't let other people shame you into using AI. And AI is an operating system for writers that helps you do deeper thinking. So I want you to memorize that. And every time somebody tries to shame you about using AI, I just want you to turn around and tell them it is an operating system for creative writers that helps me do deeper thinking. Until next time, writer, keep on writing.